Is
I know what I would pick
What
right
would you
in
pick?
here, right now. Okay, and I can't swear as to the placement of it. I would definitely want that in the show.
right?
And Brother Angel. And this, I'm not sure where, it might change. And Out of the Dark. And Buddha. And M. I have a show every 2 years. Most artists have one much more often. This trip, I have a particular difficulty in feeling one or the other is not essential, with the result that you can overload the whole gallery.
Helen Frankenthaler was with André Emmerich at his gallery in New York to supervise the installation of her recent paintings.
So copper goes out. Put
Copper
that
goes out.
Put that on back of the sofa.
This goes out.
Put it on the shelf.
That goes out. And it's not because they're better or worse. I'm thinking of how my eye hangs. See, like making a picture itself, the show has to create itself, and it's a creative enterprise. And you say, this is falling into place, and this is telling me that, and I'm telling this that, and let her rip. Yeah. Remember, this needs space to read, but you got it there. You're right.
It may not work.
Good.
I'm holding it. It's fine.
I can help.
It's fine. But just hold it.
I'm used to lifting.
They're not going to lift. It's the same kind of painting in light.
André Emmerich is one of the most respected art dealers. He has represented Helen Frankenthaler for a quarter of a century.
The blue. It's so super together, the two. And those three together. Round the clock with red, grand tours, not how.
All right.
The game we were playing was to hang each picture so it would not be disadvantaged by its neighbor, but contribute to its neighbor.
Then you have the blue, which is a very opening picture.
One has the problem that some pictures make an instant, aggressive visual impression. And that is difficult for their often equally good, sometimes very much better, neighbors that are subtler. You can't hear chamber music after Berlioz's guns go off.
Recognition came very early to Helen Frankenthaler. In 1951, when she was only 23, she had her first solo exhibition. The following year, she painted Mountains and Sea, a revolutionary work. Frankenthaler put an unprimed canvas on the floor and poured paint so that it soaked right into the surface. This technique had a major influence on other artists.
I work on the floor because I feel I have more intimacy and more control of the surface of the canvas that way. One's stance and relationship to the canvas itself is very different if you are stretching a canvas on the floor than if you are looking at the wall. People say to me, how do you feel in the middle of making a picture? I can't answer. I mean, I think something takes over, as in the really strong emotions of anyone's life. You're not self-censoring, and you have no idea of image or the world or any of it, but again, you're lost in it.
To take paint and canvas and colors and stain it and splash it, and dribble it, and paint carefully, do all those things all at once, and make wonderfully logic, coherent, beautiful sense out of it, as opposed to things that fall apart. Extraordinarily difficult. It is a kind of magic. And there are a lot of people out there in the world who experience that. It is, I think, why our world regards artists in that very special way we do. They make magic.
In 1969, Helen Frankenthaler's Magic resulted in a major retrospective at the Whitney Museum of American Art in New York City.
When I had the retrospective at the Whitney, at that moment I felt the fear of, oh, I'm showing all the work, and then what? And instead, I looked around that show and felt, oh, I know what I want to do now. This is exciting. Now I want to try that.
Helen Frankenthaler's creations command both respect and money. In 1982, 2 of her paintings were sold at auction for $88,000 each. This winter, she will have a retrospective of her works on paper at the Guggenheim Museum.
Going through this paper retrospective, I've been very moved myself by the continuity that an artist projects throughout a lifetime. That there's a basic vocabulary, and within that, a lot of risks, a lot of hurt, a lot of joy, a lot of catharsis, a lot of guilt, and a lot of bad pictures and a lot of radiant pictures. I would try this over there.
Yes.
This is how, I wish life worked this way. Yeah, yeah. Now it's shaping up. I'd push this down a little. I'd push this down a little bit.